The actual competition is going to last right through to the following Monday, 12 midnight. What you can do is to give the reception, the person that answered the phone, one of our telephonists, your answer, your name, your telephone number, and what we do is we're going to put it in a, if you will, a sort of hat, and we pick out the correct. We just actually randomly pick out a correct winner with the correct answers, and that's how we do it. But thank you for calling. I think you tried to call before when actually Dr. Africa was on the line. Yes. Thank you for calling. But don't come off the line yet. One of the telephonists will talk with you and get your details. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for your program. I've watched your program every time it's on, and I just hope God will just continue to bless and usher over your program.
That's lovely. Thank you ever so much. Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, Nadia, we were talking about your organisation, Choices.
Okay.
Talk to us about Choices.
Well, let me go a little back. Choices is not the name of my organisation. The name of my organisation is called Urban Youth Flex. It's a social enterprise that directly works with marginalized communities.
Yes.
What has happened is I've created a program called Choices. And it comes from the acronym Choose, Health, Opportunity, Independence, Character, Employment, Skills. So it's a holistic program. So what I've done now, over the period of time, is set up these Choices programs to meet the needs of local communities based on the demographic area. Yes. So we call them Choices Clubs. And what we're going into now is something called Choices Academies, which is more sector-based. So based on different sectors where they have skills gaps, we have created programs relevant to meet those skills that is needed to meet those jobs.
Yes.
And what we have done now is have the Choices program as the main program that we engage these communities, which is marginalized communities.
Yes, yeah.
So it's a little more holistic and a little diverse.
A little diverse. You needed to do this because, you know, working, as you say, when you was with the Metropolitan Police, that things were going on that you didn't quite like. Can you sort of say to us that sometimes we think that our youths are being branded, too many of them being branded as one way, and it's like a blanket situation, and it's not. It's only a minority of our youths that are doing things a bit wayward, and not the majority.
I will say that totally, and I'll believe me when I say this. I think there are a lot of self-imposed barriers that they create based on the environment they come from, mainly the homes. And I think it's about time that we empower our young people to see themselves as who they are and who they're not. And to be quite frank with you, what I've seen over the years is through our intervention, where we focus more so not in the deficit, which is a problem. We focus on the profit model, where we focus on the potential. Right. We have been able to see these same young people maximize opportunities and also make something of themselves.
Yes, yeah. And this is a hard thing to do. It's not that easy, because the way you're saying it, it sounds easy, but it's not. So talk to us about, if you will, your sort of daily or weekly, monthly sort of running of how you do this.
Well, I mean, again, what we do is quite diverse and multifaceted. I'll give you one example. At the moment right now, we have created a concept around food and using Caribbean food to engage, enable, empower, and educate young people with pathways into employment. So the whole concept around the food brand, which we call Caribbean Street Foods, is to
Caribbean Street Foods?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's to give young people a sense of ownership, using food as a means of opening opportunities for them, but engaging them with new skills.
Right.
And when people buy into the food, they buy into the social benefit of what is created directly in the communities we have. So this is just one area of engagement. But what we try to do is quite unique in its own little way. We try to tailor our services around the local needs. So it's not institutionalized, it's more individually tailored around these individuals we work with than somebody offer them a program.
This is it. You've got a little team behind you. It's not just you, obviously.
Well, this is where the consortium came about. Once upon a time, I was actually doing this as a company, which I thought to myself, this is what I wanted to do. But because of the multiple barriers that was meeting day to day with the young people, I started looking at outsourcing some of the work to other organizations. But some of these organizations were quite small, so obviously things were fragmented. They didn't have the necessary support to put things in place to support these individuals. So I thought if we come together collectively, we could form a consortium.
Yes.
And that's where the Learning Consortium UK Limited came about.
Yes.
The whole concept was to consolidate other providers who have similar interests and values to come and work together in the benefit of the community. And you find that where we were working fragmented, especially most BME organizations may not have the capacity to do certain things.
Yes.
We could come together collectively and
Others
work
can
together.
Do that. Yeah. Okay. You know, this is great. You are enthusiastic about this, but yet you weren't born here.
I was born here.
Oh, you was born here, but
I grew up in Trinidad, so here's
wait,
why the
hold
accent.
on there. Your accent. Hold on a minute. You was born here. How come you don't sound like you were born here?
I'll be honest with you.
Darling, I was born here.
I spent most of my life in Trinidad,
Right.
so
Okay.
it's
Where
fine.
did you go back then?
You're asking questions, you can't get the answers to right now.
No, but your accent is. I just actually thought you was actually born in Trinidad. You came over here and then. So you're born here.
Yeah, well, there's a scene out in the bundle still have the mouth speak. So when I hear the accent, it's because I'm Trini to the bone.
You're Trini to the bone.
But I won't say Trini, I'll say Caribbean now.
Yes,
yeah, 100%.
Of course.
So
I'm just wondering how the youths take you, the British youths, because you sound as if you were born in the Caribbean. So when you come to them and you start talking, and they say, you know, well, where are you from?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, most of the youths I work with directly comes from cross-cultural, so I'm able to engage them using their need as a means of common interest.
Yes.
Because I think sometimes we create these barriers that we can't engage young people because of whatever reason. But I think if we give somebody something that they need, regardless of the cultural barriers or whatever barriers, they will meet here at some point. So I think why I'm able and successful to do what I'm doing is because I've bridged the gap between their issues that is relevant to them and also link it up with social justice to promote what support I could give them individually and as well as our organization.
Yeah. Is it true that you also deal with ex-offenders as
Yes,
well?
I do. In fact, we're starting a program with ex-offenders, which is, and that'll be coming up in the next month, which is to offer a transitional employment opportunity. So it's offer an opportunity for someone who has been in prison to reintegrate them back in the community with a transitional employment opportunity for a period of time,
Yes.
which could support them in their progression into employment as well as rehabilitate them.
Right.
So it's balancing between what they need to get from A to B to rehabilitate them, but also giving them the life skills. Hence why the Choices program is quite relevant, because with the Choices acronyms, as I said, choose, health, opportunity, independence, character, employment skills, we could tailor their services around those needs or those individuals that we meet.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you find that sometimes if you've spoken to some of the ex-offenders, are they the most difficult of all the groups? Would you
I'll say yes and no. I think ex-offenders tend to have a lot of barriers, just as any one of us.
They don't trust the people.
I think with ex-offenders, obviously, it requires different skill in engaging them, because obviously they have issues that may not be the same issues they meet with somebody who has been unemployed, for example.
Right.
They come with a range of issues. But I think the main important thing is getting their trust. And I think as long as they get their trust, the rest is secondary. And I see that every day, what we do make a tangible difference because of the trust that we're able to develop with the people that we work with directly. And that's only on the basis of the openness and the transparency of what we can and cannot do. And that's what we give them.
This is Black History Month that we know in the UK.
Yeah.
Is there any special things that you're going to be doing
Well,
in the
what
course of October?
what we have done, we have launched our online radio station, which is our own radio station. But the concept around the radio station is to give young people a voice in the community as well as these marginalized communities. And we are hoping to launch in the next week, where directly we'll be going national with it, because we created an app also that is parallel that will also give them access to upload job opportunities that we will be able to use in these local areas. So what we're doing at the moment in South London, we created an app where potential employers could get in contact with us directly, and we'll put their business on the app to promote their services. But they'll also advertise their jobs. But it'll also give young people an opportunity to upload their CVs. Not only in the traditional way, but also video CVs also. And parallel to that, we'll have our radio station, which will be broadcasting 24/7. But we'll also be giving young people a voice where they could come now and use that opportunity to share their values and their beliefs, use it as voices of inspiration. So that's what we want to do.
And that should be spread across London. That's the way I see it.
Well, that's where we want to go.
But you've got to start somewhere. So
of course.
It's South London. So this radio station is going to be managed by the youths themselves.
Exactly. It'll be managed by the youths. It'll be managed from the outset. Everything that involves the radio station will revolve around them. And will be also be used not only to promote social values, but also give them something around enterprise. So we're looking at key skills in those working environment, but also use it as a learning environment that could progress into employment.
Yeah.
For me, it's about engagement, enabling them, empowerment, and also enterprise.
Right. How are you financially running this?
Well, most of what we do is sustained by either grants or we sell our services directly to the local authority. Initially, when I started the organization, it was more or less I doing it based on my own free will. And at that time, it was very difficult. I remember at times I didn't have anything to eat, literally, and literally going to these places and doing what I'm doing. But over a period of time, we have gained the trust of the local authorities,
Yes.
Including DWP, which we have contracts with. And over
Really?
the,
You have contracts
yeah.
with the Department
Yeah.
for Works and Pensions?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, and that's where we have.
Well, they're doing something good at last.
Well,
No, they're doing something good at last. Okay, great. Yeah, that's really good. No, that's an achievement.
that is
Because
achievement.
that's what they need to do.
yeah.
They need to go to the grassroots level. Stop going to the top. You know, go to the grassroots level. You know, deal with those because they know what they're talking about in their community.
And I'm a firm believer in what you're saying there. I think that sometimes a lot of these grassroots organizations go unnoticed, where we very seldom
Exactly.
give them the opportunities to do what they're doing.
Yes.
And when we look at some of these social issues, then we wonder why we cannot meet those
There
needs.
you are.
So I'm a firm believer giving power or decentralizing or localizing these services in these communities to the grassroots, to sector organizations.
Yes, I think what you're doing is absolutely brilliant. You talked about the month of October. What are we going to be doing the rest of the year for 2014?
Well, for us as an organization, what we're trying to do is work more with digital media. So we're looking at practical ways how we can engage our communities using digital media.
Yes.
So the intervention of the apps, even our radio station, even including our TV station, which is part of our plan, and even looking at potential organizations or companies who have similar interests that we could share some social responsibility in engaging these young people.
And you know, the fact that you're talking about young people doing the digital thing is the right way to
Of
go.
course.
Because, of course.
And,
It only makes sense. It only makes sense. What we want to know also about the fact that you're an active member of the British Caribbean Association. What is the British Caribbean Association? Explain to our viewers, please.
Well, the British Caribbean Association is an organization that sits directly in the House of Commons with members of government and opposition. It was set up originally by Baden Powell, Dr. Powell.
Oh, yeah.
And this organization at the time literally had a lot of issues which came out from the riots back in the day in Brixton.
Yes.
And it's quite proactive as we speak now.
Yes, yeah. And you're a member of that. You're actually the youth coordinator.
Well, I was the youth coordinator. I tend to say I was because I'm no longer active, but I'm still a member.
You're still a member?
Yeah, and this
Okay.
organization is a good organization for any young person or anybody who has an interest in politics or want to do something proactive, which wants to use the influence or access of Parliament.
Yeah, but you was also fulfilling the mandate for bridging the gap between former members of past generations and those young people who form part of the new generation, if you will.
Well, one of my mandates was to bridge the gap between the young people and the older
Yeah.
generation,
Yeah.
which was a little difficult because obviously you have people set in their ways like anything else. But
Yeah.
this was one of the things I had to do directly in response of some of the social issues that we were seeing and trying to get some of these young people to come
And
to be participate.
Yeah.
And that was very difficult.
Yeah,
Then the fact that some of them had preconceived ideas of what they wanted and what they don't wanted. But obviously most of it was just a matter of engagement and over a period of time get them involved.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Grace Ministries, talk to me a bit more now about that. Please.
Okay, well, Grace Ministry was a ministry that started directly from myself, and it came through a personal experience. And this experience literally led me to Grace Ministry. One of the issues I had at the time, unfortunately, when I was dealing with the police at that time, was a lot of social areas which came out through things that I experienced, which was disproportionate or at the time was totally unlawful. And unforeseen circumstances happened where literally I can't volunteer too much information, where I was more or less set up indirectly for something I didn't do.
Okay.
And through that experience, I went in remand for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And through that experience, I decided, okay, the same people who I was seeing indirectly in the prison, these were the same people I thought that I was meant to bring here
Yes, yes.
for my job. A lot of them had issues that I felt that was unlawful. So I decided to set up a Christian ministry at the time, which came from my personal experience, which I say was God intervention. And through that experience, I decided to do this full time. And that's where Grace Ministry started off. It started off as a befriending ministry at the time, where I was engaging young people or ex-offenders at the time and getting them support by bridging the gap for those who don't have family or friends to visit them. At the time when I started it, I started literally visiting maybe about 10 to 12 prisoners a week, which was very difficult for one individual. And before I knew it, I decided, okay, I want to do this full time. So I'm going to go a step further and get myself involved in my church and see how best we could work with our ministry. At the time I was going to a local church, which didn't really embrace the ministry because they were a little concerned about prisoners and all that. So I decided, okay, I'm going to set up this ministry called Grace Ministry. And it came from God, righteousness, abundance, compassion, eternal. And through this ministry, I decided, okay, I'm going to not go down the traditional way, going and asking for a charitable status. I'll set it up as a social enterprise. So when I set it up as a social enterprise, I started looking at ways I could have gotten some funding, and I got funding from the Home Office after a month. With no business acumen, no experience, I decided, okay, I have to do this full time because this is more a calling than there's a vocation. And from that experience setting up Grace Ministry, I actually got more opportunities where people were coming to me and asking me to support these people. And I started working on the basis of just helping them with the limited resources and what I had. I started with a drop-in center where people come in, they'll provide one-to-one support. And at one stage, I even got volunteers to come in to do clinical counseling. And then I decided where there was another gap in provision of educational needs and supporting them through enterprise. So at the time, I had a friend who was directly working in one of the local colleges, and he supported what I do. So he was a curriculum manager. So he said, okay, I could do a curriculum based on certain sectors that have direct gaps that we could promote opportunities for these people, giving them employment. And we set up a learning resource center at the time. And then I started looking at other ways, and that's where supportive housing started coming out. So I remember one experience I had with even with the supportive housing. I went to this real estate agent. At the time, I had no business plan, and I said to him, this is a plan I have to support offenders into employment. And I wanted an opportunity to do it with what I have, basically. This is the link I have. And I sold him the idea that I could have prisoners being released, come to his premises or properties, and I could manage the properties. It went well for a while, but after a while, sometimes when you tell people too much too early, they could run away with the idea. So instead of him doing what I was doing and working with me, he decided to go behind my back, and that crashed, unfortunately. And another experience I remember having, and I say this not to point fingers in any particular denomination. I went to a particular church and I said to them, you have a building, this is empty. Come and help me do what I'm doing. I could get prisoners on a day license to come out just to support their learning needs before they're being released. And I sold them the concept, and the first thing that came out their head was how much money we're going to get. And I thought to myself, if there's a social or spiritual need for the individual, let's look at that as well as the money aspect, which I wasn't going to take away. But the whole purpose for them having that conversation was what they could have gotten financially. Now, at that time, it was a good opportunity. They would have gotten more than they could even imagine in terms of financial rewards, because they do pay for these services. This is some of the challenges I had initially when I set up my organization. It wasn't as easy as it is. And
I know it wouldn't be.
And some of the challenges you get, sometimes people give you wrong information conveniently because they don't want to tell you too much. And this is where Urban Reflex came out, because I was working with young offenders. There was a program that they had directly for offenders, which deals with supporting them when they're released. And I thought to myself, why not choices? Why not give them something positive around choices? So the word choices came from choose, health. I look at opportunities, I look at independence, I look at character, I look at employment, I look at skills. And that's really the whole concept around choices. So then I said, okay, these choices could go beyond young people. Let me put it around everyone who I'm working with. So that's where initially the whole concept around the choices program and the choices ethos started from. But it has been a challenge. I wouldn't deny that it has.
The thing about it has been a challenge, but you persevered, and you've made it work. Because look at you, you're sitting down here talking to us about it, and I think it's great, and I think what you're doing for the youths are great, and we need more young men like you doing these for the youths. We've got to round it up, Nigel, but before we do that, I need you to look straight into the camera, and I need you to look at this one over here, and, you know, rather slowly give out all the details you can, website, email addresses, and what have you.
Okay, the website is urbanyouthflex.co.uk. The email address for Urban Youth Flex is urbanyouthflex@gmail.com. And if anyone has an interest in working with young people, especially black and minority groups, I'm willing to look at areas where we could work together, especially within the area of South London and West London at the moment.
And what can I say?
Thank you.
Your inspiration, stay where you are, stay exactly where you are. You're an inspiration to the youth then, right? Listen to this man. This is it. This is your byway into getting into the right track. Don't go off the other side of the track. Go on the right track. This is it. This is what we like on Lifestyle. Anyway, we're going to take a short break now. When we come back, we're going to be talking about, I think, more inspiration. That's just a clue. See you in a couple of minutes. Well, don't I look her? I can look her up now. Do you see what I mean? So this is brilliant about this book. Joe Campbell of Global Sport in Colour. How you doing, my man? What's this background? Well, what is this?
It's been that kind of week, you know. I'm kung fu fighting out here.
We know that he's lost mixed martial arts. But
Good old Tottenham Studios at Ben TV.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening from wherever you're watching us. If you're watching us from right here in the United Kingdom, welcome to the show. If you're watching us from Africa or anywhere in Europe, welcome to the show.
You can give us a call, agree or disagree. The number to call 0208 808 0693.
Thank you for staying tuned. In the studio, I have with me, as usual, our own ambassador plenipotentiary, Priscilla Nwipo. Priscilla, you're welcome to the program. I also have Otumba Bode Oseni onto the program, one who gives us much information from the northern part of Nigeria, Nathaniel Iyako. You're welcome.
Indeed, nice to be here again. ABC Sports, wherever you're joining us. A loaded package, another 7,200 seconds to be spent talking sports. Lots to be talked about.
Hi, welcome back to Lifestyle with me, Pam Joseph, here at the Ben TV Studios, live in Tottenham, North London. This is Black History Month, and we're celebrating that. What can I say? We've got a guest here that deals with Black History Studies. He goes by the name of Mark Simpson, and he's here with me today. I love your T-shirt, Mark.
Thank you.
Black History Studies, educating the community to educate themselves. I love that. Where's my T-shirt?
It's actually in manufacture as we speak.
Right.
So it will be delivered to you directly.
You know, shout out. I love that, Mark. I love that. But this is great. And this is appropriate. Although we shouldn't really just have 1 month. But we're going to talk about that a bit later. Black History Studies is a social enterprise company which operates in the interest of the community by offering courses and events in adult education. Let's talk about that. Courses and events in adult education.
Right.
Let's kick with that first.
Okay. So basically what we do, in terms of events, we do presentations, film screenings, we do museum tours, we do tours abroad. We've just come back from a successful tour of Egypt. We've done a couple of tours to Moorish Spain. So yeah, that's it in terms of the presentation. In terms of the courses, we do short courses and we do a long 30-week course as well, which deals with Black history and Black studies.
Yeah.
So the 30-week course consist of 12 weeks of history, and then the other 18 weeks we cover psychology, sociology, science and technology, art, music and religion from a black perspective.
You know, when you say adult education, what about youngsters?
Yes, we do family courses as well.
Aha.
So the family course consists of the adult and the child learning together. Because in our opinion, adult education is more important than concentrating on the youth, because the youth are grown by the adults. And we've done youth courses before, and we've had the child for 2 hours a week. But by the time they come back the next week, it's back to square one, because foolishness is taking place in the house. And, you know, so the adult's not, when you see the child going on with foolishness out on the road, it's mainly a reflection of the adult that is growing them. So that's why we say it's important that we deal with the adults, because everybody wants to blame the youth. But who's the youth first teacher?
Yeah, exactly, the parents.
Exactly.
Exactly. You aim to empower the African and Caribbean community and enable them to develop self-knowledge and identity through Black history and culture. Black History Studies aims to provide a wide range of courses and activities which will provide people with the opportunity to pursue their interest in Black history and Black studies. You also aim to provide high-quality courses and activities that can be accessed by all within the community, but not just our own community, the wider community,
Everybody,
is it not?
yeah, most definitely. We've had many different peoples from different backgrounds, different cultures, different races come on our courses and have enjoyed it immensely, because we're giving them information that they didn't learn at school, and we are squashing some of the myths that are out there about Black history, etc. So when they hear certain things, they're like, wow, we didn't know this. I have to give a shout out to one of our students. He's an Irish guy named Rob Curry. I learned a lot from him as much as he learned from me, because he was giving me an insight to how it is in Ireland and how things work out. So it's absolutely fantastic that we're embracing just more than the Black community.
Yeah. You know, when you said about you said about the tour, and one of the things you did Moorish, the Moorish. One of the things that I didn't learn at school, I must admit, and I only learned it after as an adult, was the fact that the Blacks were here way back. And I didn't learn that at school.
No.
And this is what is still going on today, that the kids are not knowing that there were Blacks here since, you know, what day.
Oh, yeah.
And we talk about the Moorish, this is it. I mean, those sort of things, if we learnt them, we could have, some of us could have had more confidence.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, and,
we say the Moors, we can go back further than the Moors. The Moors came into Europe in 711. They crossed over from Morocco, went into Spain and civilized Spain. Taught them about soap and bathing and all different types of things. But we can go back to 1200 BC, where the Phoenicians, which is a group of Black people coming from the Mediterranean and the so-called Middle East. The Phoenicians were mining tin in Cornwall, 1200 BC. So,
that's what I'm saying. You know, it's absolutely unbelievable. And then, you know, why didn't they want us to learn that? I just don't know. Or was it too much of a research for them? Which one was it?
It's more of what you don't know don't hurt you. So some certain information is hidden, because if information is hidden, then they can perpetrate the lie that's been told from day one. Right. I can tell you that some of the stones in Stonehenge came from West Africa. This is why they don't teach Stonehenge at school. They teach ancient Egypt at school, but they teach it from the New Kingdom period. Because in the New Kingdom period, you could show all different races of people there. But they're not going to teach you from the Old Kingdom period, where most of the monuments were made, because the ancient Egyptians were Black people. So there you go.
There you go. I said earlier that we shouldn't just have Black History Month in the month of October, and this is what you agree with.
Most definitely.
Obviously. But give us your point of view.
Right, so we should have Black History Month, most definitely, because during that month, a lot of people wake up and realize their blackness, even if it's for 31 days. They smell the coffee, even if it's just for the 31 days.
Yeah.
But Black History Studies operate 24/7, 365, and it's important to us that Black history is every day. So we do events every week throughout the whole year, and our busiest period is the month of October because we get brought in by certain organisations,
etc.
Yeah,
your skills and knowledge and what have you.
But some people say, what's the point in having a Black History Month? The point is to wake up people that are sleeping for the other 11 months of the year. So that is the case. But the only time we have as downtime at Black History Studies is probably the month of December. And then from January right back up to November again, it's all go.
What's the downside? What's December got to do with the price of fish?
That's the time that we've said that we're going to put aside for us to recharge our batteries, recoup, put things together for the following year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I have to give thanks to my wife Charmaine for that because she deals with all of the social media.
Yeah, let's say hi to Charmaine. Thank you, Charmaine. Nice one. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You quote Malcolm X by saying education is your passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare it for today. Now, Black History Studies supports this view, and that's why you do encourage people, and as you just explained, the 11 months of the year is not everyone's probably sleeping or half of the population is sleeping. That 1 month, everybody's awakened to it. Okay, that's cool. Okay, but how can we make it that we can get it like going on throughout the year? How can we do this?
Well,
without smacking it in everyone's face, but how can we do this?
We can only do what we do. We can continue to push the information out there, and we can't really force people to do it. People have to want to learn. So if people are saying there's not enough out there, that's wrong. There's plenty of information out there, and all we do is make sure that the information is up to date. So if people want to learn, because if you Google Black History, we come up in the top 5. Black History Studies come up in the top 5. So this is how this is how we get most of the students in, most of the delegates into our events and presentations, etc. People go online. Charmaine is the social media queen. So, yeah, indeed. So, yeah, Twitter, we've got over 35,000 people following us on Twitter. Facebook, both of our accounts are totally full. Instagram, LinkedIn, we're on all of those things. All you need to do is...
No, you're not going to do that yet.
No, I was just going to say, all you need to do is, if you Google Black History Studies, we will come up.
Do that straight to the camera.
Most definitely.
Yeah, because you're going to shine like Charlene. Right, but you've got some events also that you want to talk to us about that's going to be happening.
Yes.
Throughout. Let us hear about it.
Okay, so we've just had a successful event with Dr. Les Henry. Big up Dr. Les, love him like cooked food. He did a presentation on the Dracula syndrome, right? The Dracula syndrome, basically who's afraid of the man in the mirror. Because Dracula didn't have a reflection, right? The way he's cleverly done that, he put it into context of black people not having a culture because of the media and how we're represented. Right. But that presentation is gone, but we will be doing it again. This coming Tuesday, we're screening a documentary by somebody called Tim Wise, and it's called White Like Me, Race, Racism and White Privilege in America. Absolutely powerful presentation. We're doing that at PCS headquarters. Big up PCS, Sister Lorna, Sister Sonia. If it wasn't for them, a lot of the stuff that we do wouldn't come to fruition, because they have been backing us for the last 7 years that we've been operating. It's at the PCS headquarters, which is in Clapham Junction, but for more information, go to our website. Wednesday the 8th, we've got another film screening. It's called Reflections Unheard, and we're talking about black women in the civil rights movement. On Monday the 13th. Most definitely, most definitely. On Monday the 13th of October, we've got a film screening called Cosmic Africa, and basically it's showing, basically concentrating on the Dogon people of Mali and their achievements. On Wednesday the 15th of October, we've got Django Unchained or Tarantino Unrestrained, and that's a presentation with Dr. Les and Brother Hakeem, and this is for over 16s only because the content in it does get very deep, but they break down the film and show you that the film wasn't just put together just like that. There is undertones in it that's directly connected to black people. And then there's another presentation. We did this 2 weeks ago. It sold out. We had to turn people away, so we was asked to do it again. It's called A Wedder Magwanwid, Science Fiction versus Black Fact. And again, it's Brother Hakeem and Dr. Les. Marcus Garvey Library, just around the corner. We've got some free events coming up there throughout Black History Month. So on Saturday, tomorrow, we're screening Motherland at Marcus Garvey from 5 to 8 p.m. Motherland basically is a documentary showing what's going on in Africa, past, present, and for the future. And following Saturday, which is the 11th, we're screening Hidden Colors 1, which is the very first installment of the Hidden Colors trilogy.
Talk to me about Hidden Colors.
Right, so Hidden Colors is a beautiful documentary from Tariq Nasheed in America, and there's 3 installments of it so far. The first one was the Aboriginal people of the earth, so they're showing you what black people have achieved from day one up until now. Hidden Colors 2 was the triumph of melanin, showing how black people have triumphed regardless of what we've been through. And Hidden Colors...
That's good.
Yeah, Hidden Colors 3 is about the rules of racism. So they're showing you what rules are in place from the dominant society to keep black people in check. Absolutely fantastic. And we've screened all 3 of them. We've premiered all 3 of them over in this country, and Hidden Colors 3 is doing quite well at the moment. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
This is brilliant.
Yeah.
And the last but not least, that's it?
Almost last but not least, free film screening again, Dr. Hendrik Clark, John Hendrik Clark, A Great and Mighty Wolf, Thursday the 16th of October, Marcus Garvey, and then we go into Congo Week, which is something that we definitely support. Congo Week basically is highlighting all of the troubles that goes on in the Congo. It starts from Sunday the 19th and it's for a whole week. But on Tuesday the 21st of October, we're doing a double film screening at Marcus Garvey Library. And the first one's called Crisis in the Congo and Assassination Colonial Style. And the second one is Patrice Lumumba and African Tragedy. Right? Then on Thursday the 23rd, we're screening a film called Apocalypse Africa, Made in America. It's a must-see. It shows you.
That sounds deep.
It shows you about all of the proxy wars and where all the weapons are coming from and why the weapons are being supplied in Africa. And that's what I'm going to say about it. You need to be there. It's a free screening.
Do you know what I want to do, Mark? I want to keep those listings.
Oh, you can have that. That's yours.
Throughout the month. Every time we're on the show, whatever is relevant for us to say, I'd like to tell the viewers again a reminder. So I'll keep that. Thank you ever so much. Now, Mark, what I need you to do, now shine like your wife, look straight into this camera, now, nice and slow, and give out everything you can give us. All the information.
So, Black History Studies, educating the community to educate themselves. What we want people to do is to go onto our website, and on the website you will see a mailing list sign up. Sign up to our mailing list and you will get all of the information as and when it's happening. Our website is www.blackhistorystudies.com. Our email is info@blackhistorystudies.com. So that's info@blackhistorystudies.com. Our telephone numbers is, the landline is 0208 881 0660. That's 0208 881 0660. Mobile number for texting and to call us via the mobile is